What's up, guys? Jordan McAbee here, fantasyracingonline.com, and today we're going to talk about DFS strategies for Phoenix in the Instacart 500. By the way, the cotton candy bang is the best flavor, and you can't tell me different. All right, Phoenix. Instacart 500. 500 kilometers is the actual 312 laps. Probably have 270 under green approximately for fastest laps in DraftKings. We're going to go over DraftKings and FanDuel today, so that's going to be fun. So take a look at my algorithm predicted finishing order here. Super close up top. It's predicting Kyle Larson to go back-to-back. Keslowski is going to be a contender, as is Chase Elliott and Logano, according to this. A little bit further back, Kyle Busch, Truex, Hamlin, the JGR cars, and then Kevin Harvick predicted to finish 8th. Ryan Blaney, I explained in the article why it's a little bit down on Blaney. And you can read why in there. I do think Blaney has top 5 upside today. Let's kick it off with, let's check out some flat track stats over the last year. So last year we had 2 Phoenix races, 2 Martinsville races, 1 New Hampshire race, and 1 Richmond race. Richmond is the closest track to Phoenix. You can also throw in, obviously, Martinsville and New Hampshire. And this chart's just looking at last year. I'd also pull in 2019 data if I'm really analyzing. Elliott, Logano, Keselowski, the best on flat tracks last year. Average finish-wise, Logano led the way at 3.0, Keselowski at 3.7, Elliott at 4.7. Then we had Harvick back at 8.8. DiBenedetto there at 10.2. Larson finished 4th here at Phoenix. Didn't run any of the other races, obviously, because of his suspension. Average running position, same 3. Got Logano, Elliott, Keselowski. Truex is an interesting one. How much better he does at other flat tracks, but not really Phoenix. So something to keep an eye on. And Kurt Busch, who actually, I mentioned him in my DraftKings article that went up yesterday on Friday. Kind of a sneaky play. He's not going to get you any dominator points, but could definitely get the finish. Speaking of DraftKings, let's go. My projections. I got Elliott up top, of course, by quite a big gap, and that's honestly a pretty chalky play there. If you're going to roll with Elliott, he had the best car in both Phoenix races last year, and obviously won the championship here. And right now, we don't have any 2021 data to go off of for flat tracks. So definitely, a lot of people are going to be looking at 2020, and rightfully so. And the big question is going to be whether anything changes, whether any organizations made any gains or losses on flat tracks. Joe Gibbs Racing used to be really, really, really good here at Phoenix, and they kind of took a step back last year. Do they find that prowess again? And how do you implement that into your DFS strategies? We'll go over that. I think with a first race at a certain track, I take a lot of stuff with a grain of salt. Another thing to go over is Kevin Harvick and Stuart Haas racing in general, and what to expect of them, because to be honest, they sucked at Homestead, they sucked at Vegas. Yes, that's going to get blown out of proportion, but if they come out and they're not good here at Phoenix, then we know something's wrong. I think it's not as big a deal as some people want to make it, but it's still something to consider, if that makes sense. Because what I've found in my fantasy NASCAR career, I guess, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years, is that when a team starts off slow, we typically see a shift with teams around the 12th race of the season or so. Usually, it used to be the Coke 600. We would see basically like we knew what we were getting in those first dozen races or so, and that around that time was when we'd see, if a team found extra speed, that'd kind of be where it is. But like right now, that's kind of what teams are stuck with, and I think that's even kind of exaggerated or amplified more with no practice and no qualifying. But so looking at the algorithm predicted finishing order, obviously, Harvick is really, really, really good here at Phoenix. I do not expect him to struggle that much on Sunday. I think this projection of 8th is a very safe projection. Who we need to be looking at and kind of analyzing is like Eric Almirola starting 32nd, off to an awful start this year, but is obviously the place differential play this week because he's the only very good driver starting back in the 30s. Plus, he has that. He has a really good record here at Phoenix. Same with Cole Custer. He was really good on flat tracks last year. And then Chase Briscoe. He's in that 14 car. Algorithm has him projected to finish 26th. I think that's too low, but I understand why it spit out that number. So yeah. So let's get into DraftKings here, and let's put together a lineup. Okay. So my projections, going back over to here, take those in and throw them into an optimizer. The top lineup that it's going to come out with is Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, Kurt Busch, Cole Custer, and Ryan Newman. So I don't hate this lineup, but I don't love it. If I'm without using an optimizer, I'm probably not landing on this lineup. At least right off the start, I'd obviously land on it at some point, but Reddick's going to be a pretty popular play this week. Larson, it's going to be, so that's one more thing to talk about quick, is the front row not performing every week and how we should attack that this week. Are we finally going to get where the pole sitter gets significant dominator points and or the second place guy? Because both of these cars should be very good on Sunday. And you look at Keslowski last year at flat tracks, second most fastest laps, third most laps led, average finish of 3.7. He was very strong here. He probably had the best car here last fall. He had a very strong car here in the spring. When you look at Keselowski's record here at Phoenix, though, it's not great by any means. For some reason, I don't know what it is, it seems to happen every year. They just don't finish where they should. Obviously, he finished well in the finale, but let's be honest, as far as I'm concerned, you can basically throw that entire race in the trash. Because nobody gave a shit in that race. And it was so apparent. I'm pretty sure, the vast majority of average running positions were within, one or two spots of everyone's starting position. It was just so stagnant. Everyone was just making laps and then letting the top four duke it out for the championship. It was a pathetic display of a race, honestly, if you ask me. Well, let's look at the last 2 years of Phoenix data. Fastest laps, Keselowski, not great. So Penske cars really don't dominate a lot. It's kind of rare for them to put up huge dominator points. So it's kind of significant here that Keselowski and Logano are 4th and 5th. Average running position, got Logano and Kyle Busch with the best. Harvick, of course, Ryan Blaney. Those Penske cars are strong, but how strong? That's the question. So with this lineup, like I said, this is what my optimizer, or what an optimizer would spit out with my projections. But let's you could also, if you don't like Kurt Busch and you want to go a safer route, hit Briscoe there. I do think Custer and Newman are a great combo down here. They're both priced very well. Go back to my projections. My DraftKings projections have Custer projected to finish 15th. That's solid for a 24th starting spot. And then Newman about the same, 15.7. Starting 19th, it's just a great value there at 6,600. What I'm interested in, though, so the biggest question this week is how much ownership is Kevin Harvick going to get? On a normal slate, this would be the biggest no-brainer. This would be a Kyle Busch in the Truck Series. You're just slamming him in there despite the price. But I don't think Harvick has very much dominator upside. He's fallen off a little bit here at Phoenix lately. He went through a streak of I think he won I don't even remember. I'll pull it up here quick. He has 9 wins here total. But yeah, so he won 4 in a row, second, and then for just stupid. But then, the end of 2016 is kind of when everybody else caught up. And even then, Harvick is, top 5 every single time. He got the win in 2018. But you look at these numbers, started second last year, led 67 laps. He probably led those laps because he started second, started up front. This time they have more work to do. Typically when they have work to do like that with starting position, you don't see much dominator points. With that being said, though, his ownership level should be quite low. So in single entry contest, I actually like rolling with Harvick. And as weird as that sounds, and having that place differential play in the off chance that he does get dominator points, but I think you can put together a pretty decent lineup with Harvick. And the reason I say single entry is because he should be even lower owned in single entry than some of the bigger tournaments. Now with Harvick, I think you're going to have to. So the rule general with Phoenix is you have to nail the 2 dominators. There's typically 2. Last spring we had 4. Part of that was because Chase Elliott had problems. Now one aspect I like this week with pricing, and I'm talking myself into it, and I shouldn't, but Justin Haley at 5,000 is, I really like that overall play. Because he starts 29th. He's probably not going to move up much, unless a few cars wreck. But he's probably not going to move back very much. So you think of the cars starting worse than Justin Haley. Who has a significantly better car than him starting outside of starting 30th or worse? Corey LaJoie, Spire car as well. It's broke the last 2 weeks, but if he can get to the checkered, probably will finish ahead of Haley. It'll be close. Those 2 are close. Almirola, and that's it. So I really like I understand, trying to stuff in Suarez, trying to stuff in Alfredo. I don't see Alfredo moving up, more than a couple spots. I don't think Suarez has upside. I like Suarez this week. But with some lineups, I love that nearly $1,000 savings of jumping down to Haley. One, because Suarez and Alfredo are going to be significantly higher owned than Haley. But getting a driver like Justin Haley for that cheap, he's cheaper than James Davis and he's cheaper than JJ Yaley. It's so cheap, and that $900. So if you're comparing Suarez to Haley, that $900 is a difference between getting Denny Hamlin or getting Almirola or getting Truex instead of Blaney. Like it can significantly increase how well you can put together a top lineup without giving up too many points down there on the bottom. You know, yes, if Suarez sneaks into the top 20, he's going to be the better play, and chances are a Haley lineup isn't going to outscore a Suarez lineup. But if Suarez finishes 26th and Alfredo finishes 26th, like there's not going to be that, like it's not going to be worth it, I don't think, to have or to pay up that much when you have Haley. That's my little thing. You know, I've been thinking about this slate for a while, and even after I wrote up my full DraftKings article, just Justin Haley just kept sticking in my head. Like that price is just very nice when it comes to putting together lineups this week. So getting back on track here, let's throw on Cole Custer and get that place differential. I still like Tyler Reddick. I think there's a very good chance though that he goes like significantly way too high owned. So let's roll with Briscoe, and you could get then Larson and Ryan Blaney. See, I don't hate this lineup at all. Harvick, Larson, Blaney, Custer, Briscoe, Haley. So I think I also wrote up Ryan Blaney, if I remember right. I really like Ryan Blaney this week. I think he's at a great price, both on DraftKings and FanDuel. And I think he could be a surprise dominator. Look at these numbers are a little skewed. He had I think he had an engine issue or something. But even with that, average running position of 7.2 over the last 4 Phoenix races. Decent amount, like not a huge amount of fastest laps. But you look back to last year, his teammates put up significant fastest laps in both races. Who's to say Blaney can't do that this time? Flat tracks overall, Blaney, pretty good stats. He's kind of up and down. One thing with Blaney is he really sucks at Richmond, so that's bringing his numbers down. But you look at fastest laps here on flat tracks last year. Blaney was right there with Hamlin. So I definitely don't hate Blaney. So with this lineup here, you could also, if you don't want to go Briscoe, hit the Custer-Newman combo with Haley. Gives you an extra 900. If you don't like Blaney, I think Truex could be a sleeper. Obviously, Hamlin. A lot of people were talking about Hamlin this week. But even if you don't want to go Harvick with this lineup, I just think, I can't get it out of my head, and this is probably going to be my downfall this week. I can't get out of my head throwing Haley into lineups and just being overweight on him. And, because these guys up here cost so much, but they have such potential to do well. So if you don't want to attack the front row, come here and grab Kyle Busch, Blaney, Elliott, Newman, Custer, Haley. Kyle Busch used to be the Harvick here, a year or two ago. Look at this. 4 to 5 races, he led over 100 laps. 2 wins, top 3 finishes in pretty much every, the last 9 races. He has a 7th and 11th, and everything else is top 3 finish. Now that comes to the question of whether Joe Gibbs Racing is going to be as good as or improve on where they were last year, because they were good on flat tracks last year, but they weren't Joe Gibbs Racing good. Or is this going to stick with the Penske Hendrick show as we've seen? Let's do one with Keslowski, pole sitter. one interesting thing on the DraftKings slate here is pivoting off of Almirola to go to Bowman. I actually like pivoting off of both of those to go to DiBenedetto or William Byron. I think William Byron has underdog potential to dominate. Flat track stats aren't great in history, but that team is running significantly better than expected this year. What's really weird about Bowman is, so he had like one good race here at Phoenix, and he hasn't done shit since. And he started well always, like dominated this race. Finished sixth. I forget why he didn't win that race. I think it was a late caution or something. Had the best car. 13th, 30th, 35th, 23rd, 14th, 16th cents. And no great, driver ratings, especially considering he's started top 6 in 6 of the last 7. Or top 8 in 6 of the last 7. But I do think Bowman's going to be popular. I like him almost every week, including last week when, God, that hurt at the end when he had to pit. Yeah, so we got Keslowski here. I'm just not loving the Almirola play. I think he's priced a little too high for what it's worth. Let's grab, I hate to keep doing the Custer-Newman combo. I just like it so much. Let's throw a Suarez on there. And then just one of these, so like a Custer. So right now we have Keselowski, Almirola, Custer, Suarez. If we throw Reddick on there, leaves us 10-1. Get a Truex. Get a Hamlin. It's really... So what this is really going to come down to, especially in DraftKings, is who are going to be the two dominators and who you think they are. I don't hate the idea of taking Keselowski and Larson, but you're really putting all your eggs into one basket there that they're both going to lead and get fastest laps. So it's definitely a risky strategy. Truex... So Truex, 86 fastest laps over the last 2 years at Phoenix, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th best. Surprisingly more than Harvick. Let's go and decent. I forget back. So you got two guys starting in the top 5 here with Keselowski, Truex, Almirola, Reddick, Custer, Suarez. Again, I'm just not, I don't love Almirola at that price because you're really, really banking on place differential, and I don't like paying up for place differential. Last 2 years of Phoenix races, Corey LaJoie has more fastest laps than Eric Almirola. There's no reason to think that Almirola is going to suddenly start getting fastest laps this week, especially if they're down on speed. If you do there's a ton of value here in this range right here, the mid, the Blaney to Truex, that mid range right there. Let's do Hamlin on here, starting third. I think if Gibbs has more speed like I think they do, I think Hamlin's going to be a great play. He's obviously very good at flat tracks. He has history of dominator potential here. Throw on Blaney there. So cut off Reddick and go to Bubba Wallace actually isn't an awful option. That doesn't get me to Logano, so let's take off Custer, throw on Newman. Logano, Hamlin, Blaney, Bubba, Newman, Suarez. You look at, if Bubba Wallace could just finish the race, he actually had a really good car. Well, comparatively speaking, he had a good car last week at Las Vegas. They just had those mechanical issues early that killed him. Gibbs has been, like I said, has been better on flat tracks in the past. Look at Bubba, 10th in 2018, 15th and 19th last year. He ran really well here actually in the fall. Pretty much ran like, top 18 all race. And now he has a better car. It's just whether you trust him or not. Flat tracks overall last year, Bubba had an average running position of 20.8. He's starting 25th. I don't hate it. If you wanted to come down here and grab my boy Justin Haley, this is gonna backfire so bad for me. I can tell already. I'm gonna get obsessed with throwing Haley on these lineups in DraftKings. So if you didn't want to go Hamlin here, you could then go Kyle Busch, or if you wanted to jump off of Logano and grab Chase Elliott, that allows you to grab Keslowski, so you can get Keslowski, Elliott, Blaney, Bubba, Newman, Haley. If you wanted Larson instead of Keselowski, so you got Elliott, Blaney. Let's come down here and grab Almirola just for shits and giggles. This is $1,100 to play with. You could then go up and grab Kurt Busch. If you didn't like Kurt Busch, throw on the chalk pick of Reddick, you'd have to jump down and grab Bowman instead of Almirola, and you could still keep that lineup of Elliott, Larson. So you're really then only putting two guys. I feel like this lineup right here is not great just because there's only two potential dominators on there. So if you took off Bubba and went down to, what if we did Suarez and Haley? Got Larson on there. Let's do, I'm just really liking Blaney at that price. I should stop shoving him in there, though. What if we did this? It's going to be another Kez lineup, though. So instead of Chase, let's go down and grab Kyle Busch. Let's load up on, like, JGR. So Kyle Busch, Hamlin, Truex. I don't know if I'd do that. If they finish 1, 2, 3, it'd obviously work out. And this could actually, you could end up on Newman and Briscoe. If you didn't want Newman, you could get Custer. They're interchangeable. You have enough cap to do it. Or Kyle Busch, Truex, Hamlin, Briscoe, Custer, Justin Haley. It's gonna all come down to who dominates and if you have them on your lineup, and then obviously if they finish, but typically they do here at Phoenix. My brain tells me to, so pretty much everyone's going to be talking about, they're going to be looking at 2020 data, and they're going to be talking about Chase Elliott, Penske overall. Larson should be, I think Larson's going to be high owned. Hell, I'd play him in cash, honestly. But if so many people are targeting Keslowski, I think we could see Larson go under owned. It's going to be like really, it's going to be an interesting ownership. Interesting to see ownerships this week, like it is every week to start out the year. At the beginning of the year, you never really know. It's kind of crazy what people think. I think Christopher Bell last week was like 25%, which was complete surprise to me. Speaking of him, let's throw a lineup. Like, I could see this range right here is could end up winning the GP. Like, getting the calls right in here could end up winning the GPPs this week. Christopher Bell has Kyle Busch's old crew chief. Now, can he get Christopher Bell up there leading laps? That'd be a great outside dominator, as would William Byron starting 10th. Great value here to then allow you to, come up here and grab the chase and be able to afford some of these higher guys while potentially having 3 dominators in your lineup. So you throw like Christopher Bell in there. Let's do Suarez. Reddick. Let's do Briscoe just for the place differential. Okay, so you got Christopher Bell starting 4th. I still like Larson. And that doesn't get you to Logano. Don't hate Kyle Busch, though. Grab Kurt Busch. Grab Logano. If you don't like Briscoe, Austin Dillon's a very interesting play. So, like I said before, Richmond is the closest track to Phoenix. And if you remember back to the playoff Richmond race last year, like Austin Dillon could have won that race. He had a great car. Great car. And, if he brings that type of setup or just nails the setup here at Phoenix, that's also a reason why I like Reddick so much. The teammates there. So this one you got Logano, Larson, Reddick, Austin Dillon, Bell, and Suarez. Come on here and grab Justin Haley instead. You could then, if you wanted to grab Harvick, or if you didn't want Larson and you wanted to grab Keselowski, Logano. Overall, lots of different options this week. I could make a case for rostering just about everybody on this slate, which means I'm going to overthink it in DraftKings probably, and not really have a centralized strategy, which can be good and bad, I guess. I am really liking that Justin Haley price. So let's talk about FanDuel here for a minute. Similar projections got Chase and Logano both projected quite high. Harvick, obviously, but is he priced too high to roster? So let's go to my projections. This is the optimal lineup according to my projections. It's going to be Logano, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. I do like Blaney a little bit more than Truex. Eric Almirola, and Reddick. I don't mind. I like this lineup. I like Blaney a little bit better than Truex. They should both be super close in my projections. 68.9, 67.95. They're both right there. Pretty much interchangeable in my opinion. Oops. So if you did jump down to Blaney, and you could then, if you didn't want Reddick, grab DiBenedetto. I know I've mentioned this in a few other places this week, but DiBenedetto I don't feel like enough people are talking about him this week. Average finish of 10.2 in 6 flat track races last year. average running position of 12.4. Like, he was really good. Obviously, Penske, he technically has the Penske power. But DiBenedetto, I feel like maybe people are talking about him and I'm just not hearing it. But even the last 2 years of Phoenix, average running position of 13.2, average finish of 15.5. He's starting 20th. There's ton of upside there. And kind of, especially here at FanDuel, get you off that Reddick chalk, or even the Almirola chalk, depending on how your lineup plays out. Let's go, though. I really like this range, just loading up in this range right here. The Blaney, Truex, Larson, Kyle Busch, Logano. So much potential there to just, could all potentially finish top 3. Definitely like it a lot. So with this switch here, we got Larson starting second, so banking on him to lead laps here. Kyle Busch, Blaney. If you dropped DiBenedetto and grabbed Tyler Reddick, you could then drop Almirola and grab Bowman. Let's go. Let's see what these cheapies down here, kind of prices we're looking at. I wouldn't go. Maybe a little bit exposure to Preece. Same in DraftKings. I talked about Preece in my preview. He could surprise some people, but I wouldn't be going crazy on Preece on either site this week. Chastain's a decent option down here at 5,000. I wouldn't touch Suarez at 5,000 or Stenhouse at 5,000. Suarez, probably not, honestly. Newman's definitely an option here at 5,000. Briscoe at 62 if you trust him. I have no reason to trust Chase Briscoe right now. I have not seen a single good thing out of that guy this year. So if you get Newman, this allows you to definitely jump up and grab. If you want Larson, Truex, Blaney, Newman, you could then grab Logano or Kyle Busch. If you didn't want Blaney, jump down and grab Byron, and then you could get Keselowski. I probably wouldn't do. It depends. It all depends what you think these top 2 drivers are going to do. Larson and Keselowski. But you could, if you didn't want to pair them together, you could do Keselowski, Blaney, Truex, Byron, Newman. This also allows you to go up and grab Hamlin if you want him. Definitely a lot of options. If you didn't go with Newman and you went with Chastain, I think Chastain ran here at Phoenix last year. He's ran mid-20s, and basically every time he was in the back marker car, 23rd with Roush last year. No, definitely nothing to get super excited about. But if he surprises, I'd still have exposure with Chastain at that price, at 5,000 on FanDuel. Chastain could win you some money. This would also allow you to grab Chase Elliott, who is my highest projected, along with Logano, driver this week. And then you could. Why does this stop showing this stupid shit? I know how to play. This would then allow you to 11.9. That's just if Chastain can pull off a a top 15, a top 12 with this lineup and those studs, it's hard to not like this lineup of Logano, Kyle Busch, Truex, Blaney, and Chastain. You need to save 500 to be able to afford Larson over Truex in that lineup. Chris Buescher, let's see if I can make a case for Buescher. That's okay. Top 20 his last 5 starts here. Last year on flat tracks. Buescher not great by any means. But I like that. I like that trend. Here's Justin Haley's finishes this year. This is why I like him, by the way, in DraftKings. 29th, 26th, 24th. All he needs to do is just finish the race, and if that allows you to afford those top dollar guys, I think it could work out. Buescher this year, after Daytona, he wrecked 11th, 19th, 14th. Okay, I'm liking Buescher in FanDuel if you can afford like the studs like that. Start 17th. If he can pull off a surprise top 12, and that allows you to Larson, Blaney, Logano, Kyle Busch, Buescher. Holy crap. It's not like I haven't put all my eggs into the Buescher basket before, but I really like that lineup. Really like that lineup. Just because you have so many studs. And, if this turns into Larson leading a bunch of laps, Logano leading laps, Kyle Busch leading laps, I think I could see all 4 of those drivers finishing top 5. And that's just going to come down to dominators, just like it is in DraftKings. But, yeah, that's it. Good luck to everybody this weekend. Have fun building lineups. There's so many ways, like I said, there's so many ways to go on both sides. It's going to be, I like that aspect of it. But yeah, good luck. I'm going to drink my Bang energy, my brain fuel, and start working on lineups. See ya.